They'll be waiting for you at Bellevue with their oxygen mask. Before I go off my rant today, I'm going to give you an update on my cancer situation. This has been the craziest, freakiest thing. Got diagnosed with this cancer. Went through a biopsy a couple weeks ago. They went down through my guts, got a piece of the tumor. Had an appointment with the surgeon. Walk in, young surgeon. Didn't even know who I was. Hadn't read a few thing. This is no bullshit. Says to me, well, I got a call this weekend to come in, but I was busy, whatever. So let's take a look on the computer screen. I hadn't had no results of the pathology report, none. You know, I'm sitting there praying. You know, I'm so freaking nervous, my blood pressure's off the hook. He looks at it, literally reads it for 30 seconds maximum. Says, okay, consistent with mesenteric sarcosis, you know, blah, 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 blah. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to open you up, take that lower mesenteric. The conversation lasted less than 2 minutes. I'm not going to cut you like this. I'm going to cut you like this. I'm going to take, you know, all your lower right mesentery out, which I'll have to take a piece of your colon because I'll have to cut the blood vessels of the colon. I'm sitting there, I'm in shock. I literally am in shock. You know, I'm freaking out. I freaked out for 2 days. I honestly did. My body just completely freaking shuddered. I mean, I have no idea what people go through when you're diagnosed with something like that, but it is so overwhelming, it is so catastrophic. Well, finally, there's a great, pretty famous cancer doctor in this town named Dr. Hansen. I finally got in to see him. I was so relieved to see him and assisted. I told him, and he says, you gotta be kidding me. And I says, no, I've been a cancer doctor for decades. He says, wait a minute. What drugs you on? He showed me all the drugs. You know, I've got an ulcer in my stomach. Now, whether that cancer caused the ulcer, you know, I did test positive for the pylori, so, you know, bottom line, you know, I got the cancer, so he says, you know what, I'm going to have a conversation with the pathologist. So we had a long conversation with the pathologist that night. What helped me out, my dad's uncles, you know, some of my uncles' family are pretty famous doctors in this town. And he says, you know, your relative was the most brilliant man I ever knew, the great cardiologist. And, you know, I think he really had some compassion for me because I think he was thinking of him. And so he says, I tell you what, he called me back on the phone. And he says, we're going to do a bone marrow biopsy. I'm like, as soon as they told me that, I panicked again. I'm like, oh God, they're going into the bone marrow. They got to think it's. But then I read up on it. You know, it's crazy that you see 15 different doctors and all these things, and you really still don't have the proper information. You have to research on the internet, you know, YouTube to find out yourself. You know, and so I went in knowing what I was in for. They went in through my back, they shove a needle down through your hip bone going, and it really was not as bad as I thought. It was not as bad as I thought. They pull a piece of DNA out there, and they get really serious, but, you know, my guess it's going to be surgery. You know, this has got to come out because it's carcinoid. How major the surgery, I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm hoping, you know, a couple of you guys told me, don't just let them gut you, you know, and I think the same way as you, you know. I was listening. You know what's ironic? When I got diagnosed, Steve Jobs was talking. I was watching the TV in the emergency room about he refused surgery for the first, you know, X amount of years. But, God, he had pancreatic cancer, and he lived 8 years. You know, do you know anybody that's ever lived 8 years with pancreatic cancer? I don't. So, you know, to say the surgery, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You know, I'm trying to do as much research, but today I want to go off on my fucking rant about the corruption of the S.E.C. and how the S.E.C. and the Occupy Wall Street movement and this whole thing is a giant philosophical fucking battle. It is a giant philosophical. Oh yeah, we got winter here. It's cold. But look, I tell this story. You've probably heard it from me before. When I was on Wall Street, I sued Charles Schwab. They broke a trade on me on Stratosphere Tower down there. That corrupt piece of shit. My name used to be on the wall down there, believe it or not. And Stuback pulled his fucking crooked ass fucking scam and got away. They owed me $247,000. It went to litigation. You know, he sold without reporting to the SEC hundreds of millions of dollars of stock. He ended up getting fined, I think, $10 million. We won the lawsuit. I got $2,300 fucking dollars. But anyway, that's one. That was clear back in the mid-90s. Two, Commuter Associates. I don't know if you ever remember those crooks. They had a dope fiend for a CEO in New York. They were getting ready to report. I bought a bunch of put options on the old curbside exchange, which is right behind the Trinity Church. And I got a confirmation. You know, I bought a few $1,000s worth of them. The stock got obliterated after hours. It was a 50, opened up at 20. I mean, made a major score, a couple $100,000. I get an email back says they broke the trade on me. I went right to Spitzer. Tried to sue. I even found who the fucking trader was. This fat fucking daddy's boy piece of shit. Went right in his fucking face. He got away with it. Well then, I was heavily involved in the 3Com Palm spin-out. Heavily involved. It was corrupt as corrupt. The investment banking fucking world is so corrupt. Wall Street is so grotesquely fucking corrupt. And I want this to be clear so people occupy Wall Street understand who runs this country. Who runs this country. It is corporate board members. C.E.Os. Now let's be clear. There are not that many corporate board members in America because they sit on multiple boards. On multiple companies. There's not that many. There's a few hundred of them. They run the world. They run this whole fucking country. Wall Street's empowered them. Washington's empowered them. That is who runs the entire show. Well, this 3Com who owned Palm, spun it out, was so fucking corrupt it was unbelievable. Opened at 175, closed that day at 80. Anyway, I got fucked at hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars because I was the arbitrage guy by the company I worked for. Just plain fuck me. You know? Went to Spitzer, filed lawsuits, the whole works. Well, that's when I learned and found out you cannot sue a brokerage firm because you sign an arbitration clause and you got it. Who owns the arbitration board? You got it, the brokerage firms. They backdoored the Constitution, fucking the Wall Street fucking corruption. Well, years later, a company called Cypress Semiconductor. You'd think they have nothing to do with 3Com. Nothing to do. They're spinning out a company called SunPower a few years back. Well, same thing. I identified the arbitrage. That's what I do. I'm an arbitrage derivative specialist. That's what I did for a long time. Found it. Was trading it. You know, and I could see the exact identical corruption. So I started snooping in, dug in. Just went to Yahoo Finance. It's by law. They have to list the name of the corporate board members. Found him. Eric Bartholomew. Holy shit. The guy who was the acting CEO of the exact same board members that were 3Com. I'm like, wow, they're pulling the same stunt. So I got on the fucking phone, got the CFO department's phone number, called, went off on the secretary. Finally, she forwarded me to the CFO's voicemail. You know, he ain't never gonna call you back. I went off. I says, I know exactly what the fuck you're up to. I was heavily involved in 3Com Palm. I know you fuckers are corrupt. I know the corruption you're pulling off. I know for a fact you sold fucking $100 million worth of fucking stock recently, and so is all your board members. This is as corrupt as good. I'm going to the S.E.C. Well, you know no CFO's ever going to call you back. My cell phone fucking rings 20 minutes later. It's him, the CFO himself. You know, and he fucking told me a fucking song and dance. Oh yeah, I'm just worried about the economy. You know, he used the old line they all use. We could wake up one day and Israel could bomb Iran, or you know, they use the terrorism card. That's what they fucking play. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, you phony lying motherfucker? Did he get away? Oh yeah. Hundreds of millions? Oh yeah. That is the corruption of Wall Street. The Wall Street, a guy like me, all us guys were on Wall Street. There was a lot of integrity, good people on Wall Street for a lot of years. We've all lost our fucking jobs. They don't want guys like us. We've been replaced by computers. The corporate elites have taken everybody out of the fucking equation. Wall Street is a corrupt motherfucker. This country is a Ponzi scheme. And it is run by the corporate board member. So when you guys get ready to pick a hat, well, like Jamie Dimon, that piece of that, you're doing the right thing. Going after these motherfucking pieces of shit, getting in their face. You know, these bank CEOs, these bank corporate, they are the fucking criminals. They are the fucking crooks. And I'll tell you what, you've woke Wall Street up. I mean, excuse me, you've woke the Fed somewhat up. The S.E.C. is so fucking corrupt. It's easy. You know, Wall Street finds a brilliant young fucking attorney in the S.E.C. who's aggressive. They just go fucking have a talk. How much you making? Well, I make $100,000 here. You want 3? We'll give you 100 up front. Sign this. Full disclosure fucking signings where they can't talk about anything for the rest of their lifetime up for life. That's how I mean, look at the fucking Madoff situation. There are thousands of Bernie Madoffs out there. Thousands. They're called mutual fund managers. And if you don't believe me, it is a fact. There's a law putting down the gate. They put down the gate in 2008. It is legal. It is legal to shut the gate and not let you out. They have computerized matrices. They know how much in, they know how much out. They get leaner and leaner, and then they fuck with your money the whole time. They don't buy stocks with your money. It's a fucking lie. They window dress at the end of quarter, which is legal. The only time they have to own those equities is when it goes out the fucking door. Your statement once. They only have to own it for 1 day. 1 day every quarter. Then they fucking lay on the beach and let the computer handle it, whatever. It is fucking corrupt as fuck. And anybody who has a 401k, anybody that feeds these fucking pieces of shit one dime is out of their mind. You know, just like the big banks, they say, oh, we don't care if all you small people go out. We got all the big fucking bullshit. Oh, they fucking care. But when you're going after these people, research who these fucking corporate fucking board members. It is public fucking knowledge by law. Go to Yahoo Finance, click into fucking whatever company you're looking at, you can find them. You can find them by name. Get in their face every chance you get. Fuck these creeps. Kevin Blanch.